Hey Snowboard Addiction, Taevis here, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to frontside board slide rails. Frontside board slides rely on two fundamental principles, your takeoff and your body position. The goal of your takeoff is to have your weight set over top of the rail with as little sideways momentum as possible, while your body position has three main goals. Staying balanced, letting you see to the end of the rail, allowing you to counter-rotate back to regular. The ideal on-rail position is for your upper body to be rotated forward, your arms away from your torso, eyes locked towards the end of the rail, with a tilt in your upper body helping you keep your weight stacked over the center of your snowboard. Your goal with your head is to let you see how much longer the rail is and help you keep your upper body rotated. That said, your head being able to see the end of the rail isn't technically necessary. Seeing the end of the rail is nice and it helps you feel more in control when on the rail, but not seeing the end of a rail won't make you fall. For example, on my cab 2s, I keep my eyes looking more at my foot and rely on the feel to know when the end of a rail is coming up. Pulling back a front board is only a 90-degree rotation, so it can be done with very little pre-wind. Sometimes it helps with balance getting out of this hyper-exaggerated front board position. Having your upper body more open towards the end of the rail makes snapping back easier and gives you more control, letting you get off the rail much cleaner. What can't be ignored is making sure your spot is angled down towards the rail and your spot is set underneath your armpit. This helps keep your weight stacked while letting you see the feature. A super important note is that you want to do this by tilting your chin, not leaning forward or rounding your spine. Leaning forward makes you fall forward, and rounding your spine makes it so you're very top heavy. So even if you're relatively stacked over your snowboard, you will still have too much weight set over your toes. You basically should never round your spine in snowboarding, but this is especially true on frontside board slides. You can bend forward to get lower to the rail, but you do this by keeping your back straight and letting your hips hinge out. Your limit for how low you can get is how far you can go before your weight shifts from centered to over your toes. Once your weight is set over your toes on a frontside board slide, falling forward is the natural outcome. The other crucial mistake you can't make is spotting over your shoulder. Spotting over your shoulder makes it so your torso becomes very tall and your back starts to round backwards. This puts you in an extremely compromised position where it's nearly impossible to make any adjustments. So basically, as long as your spine is straight and your weight is set over the center of your snowboard and your spot is under your shoulder, you're set and can now do a perfect frontside board slide. But there's one more pesky little issue. How do you consistently get into your perfect frontside board slide position on an actual rail? This is where it gets tricky, because the real challenge is bringing your frontside board slide position onto a street style feature. They pose two challenges. One, you need to travel sideways. Two, you need to travel upwards. Because frontside board slide positions are so fragile, these two variables, no matter how small, can pose a serious challenge. In this section, I will teach you some tips and tricks that make this challenge a lot more approachable. First, on the takeoff. You want to keep your snowboard in contact with the takeoff as long as possible. This has two major benefits. One, if you maintain contact with the takeoff, you will naturally have your front foot set over the rail. Depending on the feature, this can mean that you don't even need to pop, taking away a whole lot of variables when getting onto the rail. Also, I can say from personal experience that the less height you have getting onto the rail, the better. Less height equals less impact equals less chance to break your form. It also makes the rail a whole board length shorter compared to rushing off the takeoff. That solves the upwards challenge. For sideways, you want to use two things, angle of approach and catching the rail. Angle of approach refers to your edge line angle. Having a small angle towards the rail combined with leaving off the takeoff off your tail puts you in a really nice position over top of the rail. The more angle you use, the more you will be over the rail, but you'll also experience more sideways momentum. If you have too much sideways momentum when getting onto the rail, you'll slip off the far side. So the ideal angle approach is one that helps you get on the rail with as little extra sideways momentum as possible. This is hard to do, which is why you also want to use a technique called catching the rail. Catching the rail is when you hit the rail with your board angled upwards. For more angle, the more you will stop your sideways momentum. This works best on fat twos because they give you the largest area to catch. An important part of catching the rail is making sure you don't angle your whole body. If you angle your whole body, you'll kill all your sideways momentum. The key is using your hips to angle your board while keeping your weight set over the rail. This brings us to the final step, preemptively setting your weight over the rail. Setting your weight over the rail is when you have your upper body positioned towards the rail. You do this by adding more bend into your legs, letting your upper body go forward as your hips go backwards. The goal is to have you just far enough forward that when you pop straight up, you travel forward. Combining this with angled approach and a good takeoff will get you on top of the rail with very little sideways momentum. What you don't want to be doing is leaning forward. Leaning forward on takeoff sets your weight onto your toe edge, making it so you're no longer stacked over your snowboard. And if you get onto the rail not stacked, you're going to slip out. That is why the limit to getting your weight set over the rail is the range of motion you can use while maintaining a completely stacked position. This weight shifting motion to help you get over rail uses the same body position as balancing on the rail itself. When frontboarding, you don't want to be fully tall, leaning forwards or backwards to rebalance. This is because the taller you are, the less range of motion you have to play with, making you rely on leaning to rebalance. But when you're lower and using the hinge in your hips to rebalance, you can make minor adjustments that rely on hinging instead of leaning. This is a much more controllable way of rebalancing on a rail. A super important note on any takeoff is making sure that you don't fully extend your legs. When you fully extend your legs, it makes it so your whole body becomes angled over your toe edge. This sets your weight over your toe edge, so when you get on the rail, you're going to need to immediately adjust your balance back to your stacked position. This is making it so instead of going and focusing on sliding the rail, you're focusing on rebalancing. It also makes it so that you have no ability to make any micro adjustments. As soon as you fully extend, it's going to make it so your core is elongated, removing a lot of your ability to make any micro adjustments. This is why adding this extra bit of angle and weight set over rail is so beneficial, because not only does it help you get on the rail easier and increase your range of motion, but it also makes it so you can go and pop without being at risk of overextending, compromising your stacked position. Frontside board slides rely on all of these principles working together seamlessly, and it's impossible to work on all of these aspects at once. That's why I highly recommend getting these principles as locked in as you can off snow. The best way to do this is on a jib training setup. On it, you can practice getting your weight over the rail, the balance needed, the hinging principles, and catching the rail. Basically, I use off-snow training for everything besides landing angle and angled approach. Frontside board slides are no joke, so taking the time off snow and making these fundamental principles second nature is truly important. Recap: find a fat down tube. Come in with a 10-degree angle. Set your weight over the rail. Leave off your tail as you shift into your front board position, keeping a slight bend in your knees. Catch the side of the rail with your board angled and your body over top of the rail. Keep stacked over the center of your snowboard. Pop off and ride away. I'm Taevis from Snowboard Addiction, and our goal is to improve your riding.